What's good, y'all? My name is Rorvis Paradox, aka Docs Brando. I'd like to welcome you all to another installment of Rorvis Reviews. Sorry that I missed y'all last week, but I was just not in the right creative space. But now I'm back and I'm better. And what better to come back to than do a complete trilogy from director T. West, the X Trilogy. Now I am excited to do this. These are films that I'm interested in. Two to three I completely adore. One not so much, but we'll get into the details just a tiny bit later. Make sure you're following me on Blue Sky, on IG, on Twitter, for you can stay up to date when things are going on. And make sure you're helping with the goal of 500 subscribers. With all that being said, let's get into it. Now, before I get into talking about these films, I think it would be a great idea to talk about some things that I like in general, as well as the background information. Like I said in the intro, these are all from the mind of T. West, writer, director, and producer. Now, this is my introduction to his type of work, and I do think that he has interesting things to say and do for the movie industry, and I think that's definitely expressed through these three films that he's created. What I like about these films that a lot of people can easily see is that these are somewhat our timepieces in each setting. Now, the first film, X, which came out in early 2022, was set in the 1970s, and you just get a look for it, and based off of location, because the setting is also in Texas, so easily shot for shot, not shot for shot, but a lot of scenes are emulating and getting the same feel of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Then you have Pearl, which is more like in the 1910s, and this is with Technicolor, and I'm thinking more of like Wizard of Oz and things of that nature. Definitely very vibrant and colorful film. Then you have Maxxxine, which is set in the 1980s. Definitely has that kind of somewhat gritty style of the 80s, as well as emulating a lot of different horror tropes from different areas, as well as just like kind of like classic horror feeling to it, like a lot of the ones that people gravitated towards a lot. You could say that it's emulating their styles, especially with the setting being in Los Angeles. Very interesting pieces that he's created in each one, and I'm very appreciative of that work. Another thing that I want to highlight is the performances from Mia Goth, because she is in all three films. In two of the films, in Maxxxine X, she plays the same character of Maxxxine, and then in Pearl, she plays the titular character Pearl, and Pearl was also in X as well as one of its villains, but I'll get more into details of that later while talking when getting to the synopsis of each film. But Mia Goth is definitely highlighting and staking her claim to the horror genre as a actress, as well as hopefully pushing it forward for I can see her in more types of films. But I definitely think that she's shown a lot. I enjoy her performances. It has a lot of range, a lot of character development within each film. And what I loved about Mia Goth as well is based off of the creative energy she was having with T. West. She ended up becoming a producer in Pearl and in Maxxxine as well, and that just goes based off of the energy she's putting forth and the detail to the character, which she's made her own. And what I really liked when researching X was that a lot of the background information for Pearl were her ideas. She was creating it on the fly, and it made it more interesting and made you not sympathetic with Pearl, because Pearl is literally insane, but you have it brings substance to it, and it makes watching the film more meaningful to me. I think that what she brought to the table in that sense was able to help push the film forward, as well as because of that, it became a domino effect, which helped make the whole franchise to what it was going to be. But now I want to kind of quickly go over some generalized highlights. You know how I like to do highlights of each films, and in music, whatever I'm talking about. I love to go over highlights. But the thing with T West and the special effects team and practical effects team that he's acquired for all these films is they share similar highlights. So I'm gonna knock those ones off the list. Number one, Mia Goth. That I already told you before. That's extreme highlight. Without her, we get nothing. The kills in this trilogy. Mwah, chef's kiss. Oh my god. Talk about brutal. Really probably some of the most memorable kills in a while for me, next to the kills that I've seen in Alien Romulus and some other films. But like these a lot of great kills and very disgusting, gory, they made you feel it. And in one of the scenes, some of them didn't even die, but like it's done for, scarred for life. Like, oh my god. And if you've seen Maxxxine, you know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to spoil that. You need to experience it for yourself. What else? The score for these films are well executed. I think they each do a great job of going for the feel, the time periods, as well as really setting the tone for the scenes. I think that's about it. Well, besides it's set design, well executed on that front, everything. I would give a lot of credit to the Pearls setting. Very much so, looked as old as possible. They went off the charts for that, as well as, like I said, very vibrant, very colorful. It feels like they were showing off like what was like the first time people seen color on television. Like, I know some older person would probably appreciate seeing that more than I do, based off of being well acquainted with color TV. But that's neither here nor there. With all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the first film, which is X, which, like I said earlier, came out in 2022. And the film is about Maxxxine, and she is trying to become what she always felt she was destined to be, and that's a star. Now, she didn't know exactly in what sense, but she's finding it. And what she is about to go on a journey on is to become a porn star. So she wants to break out in porn to elevate in some form of fashion, and she's doing that with a group of good looking people and the persons that she's seeing. So the person she's seeing is funding it all and has big aspiration of getting into the porn industry. This is the late 70s, so he believes that there's going to be a huge porn boom, and he wants to get ahead of it. So when it becomes mainstream, it's going to be in people's homes. He wants to be at the forefront, for he can be making the big bucks, which highly innovative. And I'm definitely seeing he saw the vision before a lot of people, other people did, which I enjoyed that part of his character. Now they decide to go to Texas and film on this farm set, because this is the base of the plot of the porn, and they really trying to go off the walls with it. They have a art student who's filming it all, and he wants to bring this grandness to the film. He doesn't want it to just be another porno. He wants it to be treated as such of great film works of the time, and he wants to be recognized for that. So that's what he's bringing to the table on his side. And then you have some other people who are just trying to enjoy their youth, have fun, and have sex. Literally, they're all just having to have a good time. But what I found really great about these characters in X is that they're not mindless characters. They're not horrible people. They're not annoying. These are characters that you can like. These are very likable characters. Like, I love their dialogue that they're having, because the conversations they have are very philosophical and ethical as well. It's all about what the meaning of life is, but enjoying the time that you have. And the freedom of sexuality, a freedom of, having kind of like, I'm not, I'm saying in the sense of, why be so stern about sex? Why make sex so taboo when everyone has sex? Everyone likes sex for the most part. Like, this is something that people want to do behind closed doors, but there's a reason there's a demand for porn. There's a reason that there's a demand for sex workers. So why scrutinize it? Why, villainize it? And that's what the things that the characters talk about, and I love the conversations that they have with that. But while going to this farm, they're on the farm of Pearl and Howard. Now, Howard, mean old man, he's kind of just pissed off that they're there, and it leads to some situations, some conversations, and things of that nature. And then Pearl over there is very creepy, very touchy-feely, and it seems like she has a lot of regret in her life. And seeing someone like Maxxxine, kind of like, it sparks something in her, and just like from there, things go downhill. And that's all I want to say about that film. I don't want to speak too much. It's definitely something I want y'all to check out. It's one of my favorites in the trilogy. Not number one, but we'll get to there a bit later. I am going to give this film, if I'm not mistaken, I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd, and I'm gonna stick with it. I think it was executed very well. I want to give credits and highlights to the cast, which does include Mia Goth as Maxxxine and Pearl in dual roles. But I want to give credit to Brittany Snow as Bobby Lynn Parker. Did an excellent job of speaking her mind, and then had some funny clips within the movie as well. Scott Mescudi, otherwise known as Kid Cudi, as Jackson Hollis. I love the sternness they bring, and kind of just very calm demeanor. I think I haven't really seen him in too much media, but I think he did a great job, and again, make the character very likable. Wayne being played by Martin Henderson, Owen Campbell playing RJ, and then Jenna Ortega playing Lorraine, Stephen as Howard. All these actors and actresses, I think this, even though it's not a lot of people in this film, they did an excellent job of making every scene and everything said within the film count, which I highly enjoyed. Like I said, 4 stars. Definitely want y'all to check this one out. Now, the next film I want to talk about within the trilogy is Pearl. Now, what was really cool about Pearl is what they did was, once X finished filming, is it right after X filmed, or like kind of like at the same time? They're both basically, T West was like doing overtime with this to get another film out, and he was able to talk while he was pitching X. He kind of also pitched Pearl too, so it was like 2 for the price of 1, somewhat of a deal for these films, and it paid off to get to the third piece with Maxxxine. But this film is about Pearl and her going through dealing with isolation on the farm with her family, and while dealing with the want of becoming a star, just like how titular character Maxxxine wanted to be a star. A lot of parallels were going on within that film. So Pearl is basically like her backstory, and her what makes Pearl Pearl. What was the moment that like kind of just made her snap in a sense. But what we find out as we go on, there's definitely something wrong with Pearl before the moment she like starts to crack. Like, she already has she has tendencies. And what I like about this is, well, not what I liked about, what I noticed is, and when I did my research, it's like, it's interesting to see Pearl in this setting where mental health wasn't really treated as such and recognized and diagnosed and attended to. So it makes me wonder if it was like modernized, would she still end up the same way doing the horrendous acts that she would later on do if she was in modern times and able to get the proper help. That's probably an easy thing to answer, but that's neither here nor there. That's just some things that were going on in my mind. But she's going through wanting to be a dancer, want to go across the nation, wants to go to different countries and be a star and show different peoples or different nations how talented she is, and earn the recognition and the fame that comes with it. And for me, this was a hard watch, and it makes me sad because I really liked X, and to get to this part, and it's just like, this film felt like a chore to me to watch. Like, Pearl, everything I said makes her seem interesting, and she is, but she's not an enjoyable character. She's very mean, very selfish, very, it's like, I get that she's not right in the head, she has problems, but like, even still, some of the things is just like, it felt like a drag to go through. And the interactions she has, like, in some cases I can understand where she's coming from, because her mother is very cutthroat and she's mean, she's brutal, and but it's understandable why her mother is like this, because in this setting they're immigrants. Like, she's the firstborn in America, and they're German, so this is around World War One, so they're already not looked upon as the best. And then you got a disease, some type of flu going around that's killing people, so now they're isolated to make sure they stay away from people before they don't get anybody else sick. Then her dad has some type of disease that's made him somewhat, basically he's not able to move, he's not able to feed himself, not wash himself, nothing. He can't even speak. He can do certain expressions with his eyes, and sometimes some certain noises can come out, but other than that, they just feed him morphine and make sure he's doing all right. But going through all of that, it makes it understandable why Pearl kind of turned out the way she did. But it wasn't a fun journey for me, and then I don't know, it felt like something was missing for me, like something wasn't connecting. But to get to the point, then she's also married to Howard, and within the I don't want to say anymore, I don't want to spoil too much. I've said enough. Basically, this is the portion of the trilogy where it's like, I didn't necessarily needed it. I didn't. If we would just gone from X to Maxxxine, it'd have been perfectly fine, But like, this little prequel film in between for a horror villain that, it's not. I don't think Pearl herself is going to be an icon or nothing like that. Maxxxine is the one that's going around and being popularized, and fans are gravitating towards. Like, I've seen a lot of cosplays and people dressing up as Maxxxine from X this year alone. So obviously she's getting traction, but the character Pearl I wasn't too interested in. But Mia Goth's performance, excellent, so I can't really be too mad. But it's not something I'm never going back to Pearl. I'm just not, can't do it. But like I said earlier, there's a lot of great qualities to it, and it's made with care. It wasn't just like thrown together, rushed. You could definitely tell, even though they had a timeline and this was in the same year as X being released, they both released in 22. I just can't do it. But I do want to give some highlights to the cast. Like I said, I'm not gonna keep continuing to speak on Mia Goth. I already know she's the excellent in all three of these movies, but what I have to tip my hat off to is Tondi Wright playing Ruth, Pearl's mother. She stood out next to her, and like, she went toe to toe with Mia Goth, and I love their chemistry and their interactions within this film. Matthew Sunderland as Pearl's father. Now, you may be wondering, how can I give flowers and highlight an actor who didn't speak a word in the film. When I tell you there's moments in this film where he is non-verbally expressing the most fear a person can feel, just with his eyes, just with like certain noises, and when he drops a tear, oh my god! Like honestly, I was entirely, I was impressed. I was impressed by that. And it seems like a minor performance, but it's so major with how it paired with the scene. So like it was just interesting to watch. Um, Emma Jenkins Pearl as Mitzi. This is Howard's sister, so this would be the sister-in-law to Pearl. I love how genuine and positive she is. I like the kind of like the differences between where she is and where Pearl is, things of that nature. And I think she just did an excellent job in that part. And again, there's not too many people within these films to highlight. Excuse me. Now, the last person I will highlight is David Cornsweet as the projectionist. Now, he doesn't even have a name in this film, but that's okay. I liked how charismatic he is and how how he's able to entice Pearl in their interactions, and I think they add some good chemistry. And I liked how smart he is as a character, but that doesn't mean he's going to make it to the end of this movie. With all that being said, I gave this film 2.5 stars. Maybe I'm being too mean to it, but I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it as much as a lot of other people did. But now it's time for the last film. Now, the last film in the trilogy that I'm going to be talking about is Maxxxine, released this year in 2024. And I'm not going to lie to you, this is my favorite in the trilogy. This is one of my favorite movies. Well, I'm not going to say it's one of my, I don't know where it is on my 2024 list of movies this year, but it just adds on to me just enjoying this year with the films that are coming out. And what better way to get close to the end of the year than watch one of these films? And Maxxxine just does it for me. I don't know how T West was able to surpass X, because that was a very well executed film. And I thought, a 4-star film for him. All this trilogy, there's no way it can get better. It did, in my opinion. Now, some people have some issues with Maxxxine. I totally understand why some people will feel some type of way, but I'm sorry, can't do it. I love it. Absolutely adore this film. Now, this film is set in 1985 in LA. This is around the time of the Night Stalker killer that's going around and brutalizing women. And this is a very scary time for this. But what's also going on is there's a killer attacking sex workers that are very close to Maxxxine. Now, at this point in Maxxine's life, she is a prominent porn star and she's making a name for herself. But she, like since we known her, she wants more than to be a porn star. Like porn star fame, that's all right, but that's not gonna last for much longer. She wants to be a star in film and cinema, and what she has had the opportunity to do is star in a horror movie, and she earns this with a stellar cut interview. When she went to apply for that, try to get that role, she did an excellent performance, and she was able to bring so much emotion at a drop of a hat. And then as soon as it was over, back to her regular self. And that and plus some other stuff that you find out in the film impressed the director, and is taking a chance on her, who is doing a sequel film in her own franchise, and she wants to take this film to the next level and wants to be respected for the art that she's creating. And she wants to bring Maxxxine along for the ride. So she's putting a lot of faith in Maxxxine. And while this is going on, detectives are after Maxxxine, trying to figure out who's the killer and what's going on, while she's trying to figure out who knows about what happened back in the 70s with how things ended in X. So whole bunch of crazy stuff is going on, and it's just a very fun ride. And even though, some people would say that finding out who the killer was a little bit too predictable, and it is, but what I mean, doesn't matter. Like, did you enjoy the shit that was going on? Because I did. I enjoyed every single part of this film. Now the ending, little but the kills in this film, like I said earlier in this video, the kills for all these movies, excellent. But this one right here, probably my favorite kills in this little franchise, in this little series, are all from this film. Like, X is right under it, and the X has some excellent kills. Like, well, okay, there's maybe 1 to 2 kills that are like right under, are really comparing with Maxxxine in terms of that. But off the top of my head, Maxxxine got it. The kills are tremendous. And what I liked about this film also is T West taking things to the next level, really going mainstream with it. Like, this is a real major film for him in the series and amongst his catalog as well. And I think he executed very well. I think I enjoyed the use of Los Angeles in its entirety, like closing off the street for you can be able to turn it into what it looked like in the 80s. Like, I really enjoyed this film from top to bottom, honestly, and it just amazes me the work that he was able to do. And I wasn't really sure how I was gonna feel about this film. Like y'all know by now, I tend to avoid trailers. Like, I seen the littlest as possible. Like, I seen the face and I seen Kevin Bacon in here, but like, I was not about to be spoiled by anything because they cannot make trailers anymore. But to see the work and effort that he put in, I just love this film. I just really do. To get into highlights, and like I said before, it is more about the cast. Mia Goth, excellent. I'm sorry, loved her. That's all I'll say. Elizabeth Debicki as Elizabeth Bender. I enjoyed how stoic she is when talking about the importance of this film and what it means to step up and go against the status quo, to go against the norms based off of your beliefs and trying to create what you think is going to be a game changer. I respected her point in the film as well as the performance from the actress. I think every time she's on screen, she very much so demanded attention. Juan Carlo Esposito as Teddy Knight Esquire. This is this is such a fun role for him. Like, he's usually very calm, cool, and very like calculated type of a character, but here he's got a little bit more fun, like a little goofy, but like he's also very warm and caring for Maxxxine as her manager, and it's just as a lawyer. And I just loved every time he's on film, especially with that goofy ass wig that doesn't I'm sorry, but yeah, no, he had a fun. Yeah, I knew he had a fun time with this, and I enjoyed the time that he had on screen. Kevin Bacon as John Labatt. This man did so much to give us this Cajun Louisiana accent. Well, not Cajun, this Louisiana accent for this character, and boy, right next to Maxxxine, probably a standout performance. Now, this is not even one of Kevin Bacon's best performances, but this is probably one of my most enjoyable from him. He just having a good old time. He's such a goofy henchman type character. He's such a sleazeball. Like, you just hate him off rip. Like, the shit that he's saying to Maxxxine, boy, you want to punch his throat in. But Kevin Bacon does an excellent job, and I just enjoy seeing him on screen, and I appreciate the work he did, because he did go out to Louisiana, really integrated everything of the culture and really learned the dialect, plus doing his own research through YouTube and stuff like that. Like he put a lot of effort into it, and I appreciate it. And when I think about his accent compared uh to old boy from Glass Onion, and from Knives Out, that accent, just like they're both, I need them in a room together going southern for southern. I think it'll be very funny. But that's a tangent. I apologize. Honestly, after that, there's not too well. No, Moses Sumney as a Leon. I liked how he's just like a caring, good character, a good friend towards Maxxxine, and I enjoy some of the goofy stuff he says, and I just like seeing him on screen. I like the interactions he has, and some funny quotables from him in this film. That's about it for cast wise, because like there's some other people, but I don't want to say who they are, as well as everybody else is like, there's only like a good handful of characters, because it feels like there's more spread out with this film in particular, but the ones that matter did their job, and I appreciate it. And I already told you, set design, score, kills, special effects, all that excellent throughout this whole franchise, so I don't have to speak too much on it. With all that being said, I gave this Maxxxine from T West, I gave that 5 stars. 5 stars. I know what a lot of people gonna say, but I don't care. I don't care. I love this film. I absolutely adore this film. I'll watch it again and again and again. Now, as you can already tell, my rankings for this films go Maxxxine, X, then Pearl. Again, I do enjoy the kills from this film. I enjoy the direction that TOS was going. I may not fully love Pearl like I do the others, but it's okay. That's all good. It's all good because there's some good moments in there, and I respect the craft that he was. I respect what he was creating, and I respect Mia Goth's performance. So I let it be bygones be bygones. Not everything's for me and not everything's for you, which leads me to ask, what did you like about these films? Do you like these films? What's your favorite amongst them? Are you a Maxxxine lover like me? Are you more of an X fan, or are you one of the pearls? Are you one of the pearls? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure you're following me at DexBrando25 on Blue Sky, IG, and Twitter. With all that, I am Rorvis Paradox, aka Dogs Brando, and I thank you for watching another episode of Rorvis Reviews, and I'll see you next time. Peace.